surprise there. And you're seeing more early aggressive junglers getting removed as well as Crumbzz drops off Alistair, or Alistair and Gragas.
Usually you'll see a lot of jungle bans when Crumbzz is in the game. The Rek'Sai targeted towards him. He was a big Nidalee player, but she's kind of fallen off the map. And the Nunu here is actually to stop the strategy of Crumbzz, Nunu, Alexeech on Azir. Azir is now Alexeech's most played champion in solo queue. He brought it out once. It was his only defeat. Every other time he's won on Orianna, 4-0 on that champion. Yeah. But they're shutting down that strategy because they don't want to play against it. Because if you're in a siege situation with Wolfclaw's champion pool, which is mostly long-range AP mages, if you're playing an Azir against that, you're pretty much never going to get through that. Like, he has engage on you, he can close that gap, he can also poke you at the long distance, so it's kind of like the nightmare for all those champions. All right,
well, we'll see if we see any different types of champions from Alex. As you mentioned, he'd been spamming Orianna throughout the qualifiers. We saw him play LeBlanc when we briefly saw him in Challenger when he played with TDK, and that was all kinds of scary, so we got to see what kind of styles come through. Either way, first pick Sejuani in for Magnetic, and right away Misfits grab their bottom lane of Kalista Thresh. Yeah,
Kalista's actually banned against Misfits 3 out of their 5 games so far, so finally locking that up from Maplestreet, and they've gone back and forth between AD carries. They had Maplestreet when they were playing up against AKA, when they played against Team Liquid Academy, and they were taken to 3 games. They were playing with Nien. Right. So Maplestreet has only seen 2 games of action through the 5 games that they played. So he's going to get Kalista for himself, comfort champion here. And then speaking of comfort champions, Remilia on Thresh. Yeah. Now I remember back in the day, Remilia was on Curse Academy. They went through a phase where they were just pretty much going through Thresh support mains. They were like Tsutsulo, they went Remilia, they went through Bunny Fufu, right? They had all these guys who were just Thresh mains, and I remember Remilia definitely standing out on that champion.
All right, well, we'll see. That's going to work well for their bottom lane because right up against it, actually, the Masquerade happy to counterpick himself in the lane matchup. Sivir into Kalista, never a happy one. That said, Nautilus might have enough beef to keep them all safe. With all the CC, you don't get to run around much as Kalista, but Magnetic hiding both solo lanes right now, wanting Misfits to show at least one of them before they pick.
Yeah, you definitely want to counterpick RF and Alexeech, or at least one of them, because this team, Misfits, is all about their solo lanes. It's whoever their AD carry is, whether it's Nien, whether it's Maple, it's kind of the sacrifice lane. Remilia keeps that lane in check, plays a champion like Alistar, Nautilus, or Thresh that can at least engage and be part of playmaking later on, but that's the sacrifice lane. Crumbzz will play mostly between top and mid, and if Alexeech locks in something like a Twisted Fate, he snowballs mid, then they snowball top together, and they 3-man turret dive constantly.
Well, that sounds a whole bunch of fun to play as, and maybe not so much fun to play against. Now, you mentioned Nidalee and her being a little bit less popular than before, but Crumbzz is going to go for that one anyway, taken after Snake's Beast, one of the most popular Nidalee players I've seen over in China LPL. So either way, Crumbzz happy to keep playing AP assassin, poke, mage, junglers.
With wave clear, like clear times and stuff like that.
Wave clear is kind of mediocre.
Melee wave clear, yeah. I was just naming like other ridiculous things that it has. But yeah, Nidalee, really good pickup there for him. It's constantly banned against him, banned 3 out of their 5 games, so he almost never gets it. Because when he does, and I saw in the Alpha Draft Challenger League, he snowballs like crazy. And so does RF. They have a really good squad so far for Misfits, but it's really pick-oriented. Yeah. If you look over at what IMG, Magnetic have gotten for themselves, it's really team fighting. Exactly. It's all about the team fight. It's all about the engage. And Sojin playing to his style of supporting and starting team fights. Yeah. That's going to be their forte in this matchup, and those are going to be great champions for them to pick up. The Gnar into Aurelia is actually more Aurelia favored.
Yeah. That's...
So, but if you do get gank attention, you can swap that matchup over, and she doesn't really have a chance to get back in.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you look at the microcosm of Gnar versus Aurelia, Gnar has the push lead. Aurelia to fight back must go into melee range. So if Sojin's there, then it's fine. Meanwhile, if there's any champion, remember Wolf's Claw playing, it was Ziggs over here. So long range poke mid. You know, exactly what you expect from a team fight composition. 3 tanks in the front line, Sivir to get them in there. I normally see Orianna with this type of composition, but Ziggs is just there for the damage support as well. If Magnetic get rolling, nothing much is going to stop them.
Yeah, Wolf, he is AP Ezreal main, Ziggs, Xerath, just AP Kog'Maw, all these types of AP threats that just poke. So Ziggs is right up that alley for him, and the composition's just kind of comfort champions right now. Big ol' Ron's most played, Gnar. This is actually the first game that we've seen of Magnetic in the Challenger Series, because they haven't had to go through anything because they finished 5th last time. Exactly. So now we're seeing this new squad pull out a Wombo Combo team comp, which is going to test their synergy and their shot calling and when everybody arrives at the same time.
Well, speaking of fun things happening and people arriving at the same time, yeah, a bit of a lane swap here, actually. I think we're going to be seeing some more mid Aurelia. She's been pretty popular in late May and throughout June. We see her into the sort of the safe long-range mages, and you jump in off a caster minion and start wreaking havoc on a mage. So Alexich playing some mid Aurelia. All he's played so far is Orianna and Azir, and he's like, I learned Aurelia, whatever, bro.
Orianna's up, but they're going for even more pick, even more lockdown.
Yeah.
Thing here is this is a lot of physical damage, but that's why Crumbzz is on that AP Nidalee. He's going to have that AP threat that they have to be cognizant of when Magnetic is fighting them. So this is actually really exciting.
Think about how well they played Champ Select to bait all that together.
That was crazy.
Right, hide all their soul lanes for the very end, grab the Nidalee, show the Aurelia. They have to expect the Gnar counter pick. Well, actually, no, sorry, Gnar's a counter pick on himself. But I think they still expect, like, you know, another tank top lane, which they can then switch Maokai into.
It's a little strange that they didn't go for a more classic strategy here. Misfits, I mean, there's a lot on the line right now. There is a third-place match, but I want to see how they're going to play this out because, you know, Faker did it, right? Like, that's going to be like the Aurelia thing. It's like, Faker did it, so I guess it's acceptable,
He wasn't
right?
first.
I know.
Anyone who wins with it
He wasn't
counts.
first to do it, but as soon as people start seeing Faker play a champion, they're like, oh, Faker did it. I can do it too.
All right.
But the thing I'm looking out for here is typically when you do play Aurelia mid, you max the E first, then you max Q.
Yes.
Not the W max. You go for the Q because you're up against very squishy mid lane champions that you get to knock out of the lane.
Yep.
Also, it allows it so you get that reset earlier on higher HP creeps.
Exactly. You can knock down caster minions without even a Sheen proc, I believe, at certain points, so you only need a couple R's to go through as well. So
also,
it lowers fun to watch.
Lowers the cooldown drastically. I think it goes down from something like 14 to 6 or 14 to 4. It's absolutely crazy. And if you look at the replay, that
I think it's one second now. It's either 14 to 10 or like 18 to 10, something like that.
It's pretty drastic. It goes down really quick.
I know it ends above Leap Strike. Right now it looks like it's 14 at level 1, so I'm going to say 14 to 10. Because Jat's Sleep Strike gets pretty long. Either way.
I don't believe you.
All right, that's fine. We're going to find out as time goes on, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Haven't played Aurelia in a couple of years, but she's definitely a fun champion. Either way, here we go. 57 seconds into the match, and Misfits so far playing battle lines. Magnetic doing something very similar. And we'll see.
It goes from 14 to 6.
Okay, it does go moderately low.
Yeah, it goes extremely low. That's what was impressive about it to me when I looked it up, when Faker had actually played it, that it goes down so low, and by that time, you might have a Frozen Heart at level 13. So you're looking at like a 5-second window lower than that to actually jump in and destroy people. So it's really cool, because if you look back at that Faker play where he got multiple kills, he queued somebody with about a third HP left, didn't kill them, and then was able to turn it around after waiting 5 seconds and throws your opponents off because they don't expect your Q to be back up that quickly.
That's very true. And we'll see what the Alexich Aurelia can do here. Of course, a Flask start to keep himself sustained in a melee versus ranged matchup. Right now we have default lanes as well, and we will see that we're going to have just a hard leash on the blue side, but actually Misfits will be taking the Gromp for themselves.
That was really nice by Alex. He just picks up all of the Raptors very quickly and immediately puts the pressure onto Wolf in the mid lane.
And does a fair bit of damage with that, but gets harassed back right away. Wolf taking a bit of CS, but yeah, Flask will keep him in a decent spot overall. Maple and Remilly will walk into lane, missing 1 CS already, but they're of course up in experience thanks to the fact that they did take that Gromp. Sojin's delaying his red buff, interestingly enough, and goes right for Raptors.
Going for the Raptors, not the red buff. And this is a strange side of the map as well. He's actually just going to ignore his red altogether and go straight for his blue. You don't really need it too much as Sejuani, but he might just be doing a small camp clear in the ganking. Yeah, so Kobe talked about this over the weekend in the North American LCS. Good hook, good play. They won't kill Indivisible, it'll be a lot of damage. He said basically, if you want to do a hard farm route, you clear the small camps, back for your upgrade, then full clear again with the buffs, and then you've got like full health, a jungle upgrade, and buffs and everything to gank with afterwards. Yeah. And we'll see if that's actually true. And the reasoning behind that is because you have the buffs, right? Like you just said that. They're all worth the same golden XP anyway. Exactly. Otherwise, you're clearing your red, you're clearing your blue, and your Sejuani, you're not going to have that much HP after that clear. Her clear is actually quite brutal for her at first. And then you back and you're wasting all that time. The time in the back, the time of walking to another camp to clear it, and the time walking to lane. By the time you actually get a gank off, your red might be gone. Exactly. It only lasts about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, something like that, all considered. So, here we go. There's the recall, there's the Rangers Trailblazer, and right away Sejuani going for blue buff. Meanwhile, Crumbzz sniffs this out and goes, the red buff is still up right now. Is Sojin connected? But yeah, where's their jungler? I mean, the Raptors are gone, so he's clearly not. And Crumbzz just like is too afraid to go for it. It paranoids you. You sit there and you're like, wait, if these Raptors are gone, he's been in this area in at least the last 50 seconds, minute. Yeah. So
funny thing is, if you revealed Crumbzz, you would realize that was up, and he would have actually been able to infer the jungle path. So Crumbzz has a chance to steal a red buff, and you know, he learned from Broken Shard. He's just afraid of that camp, and he's gonna not even try. Alex, though, by the way, is getting hit pretty hard in this mid lane. He's gonna be forced to recall out after getting through all his flash charges. Wolf holds up in the lane quite well and will build a bit of a lead. And
the fact that Alex got chunked out meant that if Crumbzz had actually gone up to the red, and the scenario where Sojin had backed for a jungle item comes to his red, there's no way Alex can reinforce that because he was low. But he's going to try it now in the 1v1 situation with full vision of this.
So that was his plan all along, just to kill Sojin in his own jungle. There's plenty of damage. Sojin smites to heal, but Crumbzz is still here. He flashed to chase, bit of damage back and forth, but Wolf had already recalled away. Crumbzz, if he can't land the Q, heals himself, walks away. Sojin stays alive, both burning flashes.
All in the bottom lane as well. Already using a lot of summoner spells across the map.
Ignite for flash, so they knew if they landed one more auto attack invisible, likely could have died to Rend there, though Maplestreet is maxing Q in this lane. But the Misfits bottom lane doing very well early on. The Masquerade and Indivisible counterpicking themselves, and it shows.
You wouldn't think this was too much of a counterpick the way that this matchup went in the last day of the NALCS.
Yeah,
I think Sivir was getting the better of this matchup more times than she should have. Double have said it was 80-20. That 20% showed up quite frequently.
Well, confirmed that Wild Turtle is in fact better than Masquerade. I don't think anyone's really surprised, but yeah, certainly is a good lead. I mean, you talked about Misfits having their bot lane being the garbage lane, but right now looks like the Trash Compactor is doing quite well down here. And poor Indivisible, out of potions, only half health, no flash. One more hook could mean he dies.
I said it was the sacrifice lane. I didn't say it was the garbage lane.
Sorry, whatever the word. Obviously, I don't mean that these are garbage players, but the one that gets ignored. I suppose I chose the wrong term, to be completely fair.
Well, to be a little bit fair, Maplestreet is actually the sub. They're waiting for Jeebus to come in because he is the last part of the team that the Misfits are actually looking to complete this roster and round it out with. And they are completely dedicated to keeping Jeebus, to keeping everybody on this team. A lot of these members have actually gotten LCS offers, and they turned them down just to stay on this team because they believe in what Misfits are going to be able to accomplish with the power that they have in this roster.
Well, pretty exciting stuff for this team then if they can make this happen right now. They are sitting on the smallest of gold leads, although Maple just missed a cannon, so harsh stuff there. Attempted gank, yeah, nearly lands the hook. Indivisible gets hooked himself, though. That's how it's done, Aurelia said. And they're going to fight a 2 versus 3. Maplestreet maybe didn't want that. Sojin turns around, says, back off my teammate, and they say, okay.
Meanwhile, Crumbzz has been getting the better of this jungle. He's getting vision down, he's getting control, he's placing traps all throughout to be able to keep tabs on Sojin. He has a level advantage, and this is the AP threat of the team. So Crumbzz getting off the ground, Crumbzz having a pretty unharassed start is good for the Misfits roster, because if Nidalee gets behind, if she gets set behind, then she's in a very disadvantageous position, especially against a lineup that's going to have a frontliner, 2 frontliners that can just soak her spears late game.
And look at this sort of foreplay by Misfits as well, by the way. There's a pink ward on top of the, I see IMG and my brain doesn't go magnetic, but on top of the magnetic blue buff, like that gets cleared for free in like 3 minutes when that blue respawns, but it will give them the vision to potentially rush for a steal if Alex feels comfortable enough to go for that kind of a play, but he's still getting poked around by Wolf.
That's true, but it is going to be a different blue timer than normal because of the back.
No, Pink Ward just died.
It's going to take a long while before that actually comes up. And we're talking about IMG. I don't think anybody thinks magnetic when they see IMG as a tri-code.
It's okay. They're just advertising their favorite JPEG website. I don't know. Either way, Aurelia going for a roam and looking near this top side, I guess, to keep Crumbzz safe. I'm unsure what the Thresh is going to be doing right now, except to fully prep this intended blue buff invade. The pink ward didn't get cut. That was actually my fault on saying that one wrong.
I actually talked to some support players, and coming from the top side of the river as a support is actually the strangest route you could possibly take, because they usually expect you from the bottom side, but look at this! Why is Aurelia here?
They just catch Sojin by knowing the timer of where he's going to come back into his jungle. Really nicely done. First blood comes in, but Wolf gets Crumbzz back. No magic resist to speak of, means Nidalee goes down. Crazy invade. Still saves advantage of Misfits.
Amazing throw out there. All the abilities from the Wolf's Claw right on the spot to pick up Crumbzz. And both junglers getting traded, but Misfits with a little bit of an advantage there. But they do give up bottom lane pressure and a decent amount of experience because of the Thresh roam.
For the first time all game, we are seeing this top lane. Big Oran facing up against RF, and Meganar does mean a fair bit of damage, hits him into the wall, but no stun lands. But RF's still taking a lot of punishment. there's no junglers around, he won't die, but still hurts. And that hurts too.
I'm really surprised to see RF not on a carry type top laner and going with the supportive Maokai here. So far, he's played Hecarim twice, Rek'Sai, Rumble, and Gnar in the top lane. This is the first Maokai we're seeing from him throughout the Challenger qualifiers. And what I've kind of pegged him as is a top lane carry player. He's usually all about winning the laning phase. When I watch his stream, he almost never loses lanes because he just has such great mechanics and such great knowledge of the matchups of the lanes. So seeing him on this Maokai is very surprising to me.
Yeah, right now he's just really trading equal with Big Ol' Ron right there, and even that fight we just saw was slightly in the favor of the blue side. Sojin going for a tower dive. RF is half health. His Nidalee is nowhere around as Crumbzz actually heading down towards the bottom lane.
But Nidalee's going to go bot, yeah.
Exactly, fights on different sides. Flash comes in, sorry, TP as well, and here comes the dive on. Maplestreet gets knocked up, but Indivisible has almost nowhere to go. Hooks towards the turret, but RF is here to lock him up, gets the kill. Vermillion takes the turret, walks away. RF going to be very close to dead, though. Gets a thankful heal from Nidalee and stays alive. That's going to give a lot of time in the top lane for Big Ol' Ron to knock some structures down.
And Vermillion tanking as many shots as possible. This is going to be a lot of structure damage traded for that kill and a lot of minion waves top. So we're going to see what Big Ol' Ron can do with this advantage that he's been handed, but it is going to be kind of equaled out because of the kill going to RF.
So interesting. All the pressure actually in the bot lane right now for Misfits. They even use Vermillion to get a gank into the jungle, but mid lane turret goes down. Wolf is winning lane against Alex. It's a matchup that Misfits wanted as they lane swapped the Aurelia. So far, that one's not working out. The top lane, you know, small disadvantage. The TP got a kill, but it gave away a couple of waves.
Yeah, just going back to team composition here, it's a very risky team composition from Misfits. Pick-oriented. This is a team that was all about synergy, and they have that over Magnetic.
Yeah.
Magnetic is much more, is a newer squad. They're even using one of their substitutes, right? Sojin is in the mix right now instead of Dardoch. So Misfits, instead of going with a Wombo combo team composition, Magnetic get it for themselves, and Misfits go with a pick comp. It's much harder to execute, and you have to be cleaner with it because the margin of error is smaller.
Absolutely it is.
It's larger, but you're not allowed as much.
Right, yeah. There's errors can be made, and they're much more punishing.
Yeah.
Is essentially what happens here. Yeah, so Magnetic do get essentially a fairly easy to execute team composition. They've gotten out of the laning phase quite well. They're up a turret, though, down in gold thanks to kills and farm in a couple of different spots. Right now we're seeing Crumbzz getting farther and farther ahead in gold right now over the opposing jungler. But Magnetic, right, mid lane turret's down. Wolf's doing quite nicely. He's the vocal one of the team, and winning your lane helps you shot call because you're not worried about your matchup anymore.
Yep. Sojin is the shot caller, and Wolf is kind of the backup vocal leader that keeps everybody's spirits up on this team. And if you go over to the Misfits side, we'll talk about that in a second. There's a brawl in this top lane. There's a lot of punching back and forth.
I mean, it's a brawl, but I feel like both of them going to come out surviving.
Yeah, you never know, though. One of them might flash on the other for some reason.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, normally brawls end with only one person alive, but this time around looks like they're just happy. And, you know, they're tanky enough to not really deal a lot of damage. Hexdrinker did come in from Big Ol' Ron, so he does have some damage threat. But RF seems okay. Rush Ninja Tabby, and then he's going to have that Righteous Glory before too terribly long. Crumbzz still playing the war control game. And you can see that even though Misfits have a more or less losing matchup in the mid lane, though CS is equal, but the turret's dead, they've kept pink wards on both sides of the lane, and they still haven't dropped yet. So really props to Crumbzz for always being around to keep this kind of stuff safe. Sojin keeps taking damage.
Crumbzz is the sole shot caller of Misfits. Everybody else feeds him information, but he gets final call on what they do and how they execute it, which I think is a huge change for him. Because when we saw him drop out of the LCS, it was because he was a leader without any followers on Dignitas.
Yeah.
People were not following him. He was trying to lead, but nobody was listening. And now he has a team where Alex Siege, pretty much a world-class player in his own right, in his own time, is now following the orders of Crumbzz.
Yeah, I mean, Crumbzz is a pretty world-class player himself, one of the better junglers in North America. Brought himself to Worlds as well, so can't hit on him too much here. Right now, though, Misfits sitting on a 500 gold lead. Magnetic just sitting there and waiting for the team comps to start working right now. The Massacre is behind in farm, behind in damage, so they might want to wait for the Sivir to come online. So the Morellonomicon is now done for Wolf's Ziggs, which is a pretty reasonable power spike here, and I feel like they'd want to fight before the Trinity Force came in from Alex Siege's Aurelia. These top laners keep battling. They get down about half health, and then the health bars just kind of keep ticking back up.
Oh, knocked out of the air.
This one's actually going quite nicely. RF's running out of health here.
Transform, though.
He's got flash. Oh, Big Ol' Ron with the sick outplay. flashes to pull him back under the turret and just goes for it. Crumbzz are going to chase down, does pick up the kill. Meanwhile, Ziggs and Co. does get the bot lane. Dragon picked up, good hook on a Massacre. A 1-for-1, but Dragon to Magnetic.
A big chunk right there onto the Massacre with the Q and Remelia landing a spell at the same time. So getting the W, the Sentinel off as well from Calista. They're going to take this turret too. Misfits, they're in a sticky situation here.
Hard dive comes through, but the hook's not going to land whatsoever. No one even wanted to try to kill Remelia because Fate's Call would just keep her safe. Bottom lane turret goes down, and we're 2-0 in turrets, 1-0 in dragons. Magnetic playing objectives quite well.
And they're going to trade this top lane turret, though. And something that Magnetic have to keep in mind is they have a lot of advantages here. They have a team fight advantage. They have an advantage in straight up just wave clear. And they have some disadvantages. Disadvantages, they aren't as good as picking people off. They can start these fights, for sure, but they have to be able to just get their synergy down and go after the Misfits. Because the Misfits, like I said, it's all pick. It's pretty much all pick. They have no wave clear.
Champions, yeah.
Yeah, right? They have no wave clear on this team composition. It'll be pretty much just Calista with a Runan Turkey eventually, if he goes that route. That's about all the wave clear they'll have. So no wave clear, very low team fight prowess on this team. It's all pick and vision control. So Misfits are going to have to play an impeccable vision game against Magnetic, and Magnetic are actually keeping their vision up quite well. They have 3-4 pick wards on the map at the moment. 3, from what I can see. And a lot of other wards just littered out.
Double Sight Stone's got to be good for them. 2 sweepers, no upgraded or switched ones for Pickleron or Wolf. That surprises me a little bit here. Normally I like seeing the upgraded yellow trinkets pretty much as soon as possible in solo lanes. But right now, Magnetic feeling good, clearing away pink wards, keeping their gold roughly equal. And Misfits, though, still holding technically a gold lead over all this time with just, again, Crumbzz' farm and that 1 kill lead they've been able to nurse throughout this game.
Yeah, I'm going to be scared of actually calling gold leads real advantages in this game for Misfits, because one team fight that they misplay, one executional error. It'll be Magnetic's game.
Well, here we go.
Got to keep eyes on Alex, though.
Yeah, we do.
Alex popped up in CS.
Yeah, well, with Wolf roaming around and doing the dragon and everything like that, it's just been a bit easier for Alex to get some farm in that lane, and he's got to be sitting very close to Triforce money at this point. He's sitting on 1,200 gold in inventory, so that is Triforce money. I want to see him back probably this wave, to be honest. Also, an interesting recall and a lane swap by Magnetic gives enough time for Maplestreet and Remelia to knock down that bottom turret. That'll be equalized. In comes Alex, just lands the stun. Javelin flash! Sick play by Crumbzz and Alex to get the kill in the mid lane.
That's the synergy I was talking about. Crumbzz' synergy with Alex each has been on point in the Alpha Draft series and all throughout the qualifiers. It's the scariest jungle mid lane synergy in Challenger and qualifiers that we've seen. And then they just kind of snowball that into RF afterwards. So right now, RF, they're kind of abandoning him to get Alex going, but now he's got that Trinity Force online. They get to shove this mid turret. Remelia's here, and they know they have this numbers advantage to take it.
Yeah, and RF bought enough time top lane, 1 versus 3, to not lose his top lane tier 2. Of course, top lane outer was killed thanks to Magnetic's lane swap, but with the mid lane gank coming through, Misfits have actually tied up the turret score and gotten ahead in kills with that 1 mid lane gank.
Ooh, it's going to be a tier Nidalee, so we're looking at a lot of mana so they can continue to siege and throw those spears out. I like that build, because sometimes when you're running the Rod of Ages, you're finding yourself running out of mana. But it is an Aurelia in the mid lane. Most blues are going to go over to Crumbzz. He's wearing one right now, and that was just sweet, sweet spear chucking right there. He threw that out. That javelin landed right on him. I don't even know if he had to flash for that. He threw out the javelin.
Yeah.
It did enough damage from that distance. Didn't trust it, though. Kept going.
He wanted to make sure that Wolf would still die in case he, like, I don't know, flash healed away and didn't take any further damage from the Nidalee, or any further damage from the Aurelia. Either way, he used the flash, he got the kill, mid lane turret went down, and looks like life is pretty good for Misfits fans. Maplestreet stays safe, and we're overall looking at a strong mid game for these guys. The jungle mid synergy was quite good.
So, juked, because that blasting wand in the inventory of Crumbzz actually turned out to be a Void Staff second item.
Interesting.
Because he's the only AP threat on the team, they start building MR against him, like the Hex Drinker, like the Spectre's Cowl that's already completed on Big Ol' Ron. He's going to need it to get through that front line, which will just soak his spears in the front. You can already see Sojin going for Aegis. So this is actually a team that's prioritized magic resistance against only one magic resistance threat, one one magic damage threat.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you can kind of consider
Maokai as well. I understand
well,
that.
I mean, it's the reason Big Ol' Ron is buying MR. Is because that's his lane opponent here. Until Misfits have swapped this around, so I understand Gnar having this kind of itemization. I think Sojin just getting a locket because it's just things you buy on junglers.
Yeah.
Everyone else would be surprised to even buy a lot of MR right now. The jump on Alex. It's just a 4 versus 1, but Remilia's here will not even try to put the lantern down because she'd get killed for that one. All of Magnetic actually on this side of the screen, which means there's time to push the other lanes here. For Misfits.
And that's the risk that you run with this composition. The Sivir's going to run you down, and Misfits, they need, like I said earlier, impeccable vision control, but Magnetic are actually warding at a very high challenge level right now. They're keeping their wards up as much as possible. The ward line, though, for Misfits has been pushing forward. They have been getting past the river and placing those down. Pink wards galore from their side.
I mean, the best way to show that is where the pink wards actually are. There's one in the bot lane near the Crumbzz. There's 3 around the river area. One gets cleared here, but you can see the Misfits are happy to keep spending the money to keep the mid line of the map controlled. There are literally 2 wards just placed now on the Misfits side of the map that were placed by Magnetic. So you can see how much they're trying to keep the wards under control as well. And as Dragon spawns right now, Alex is just back on the map. Both top laners have teleport. Unsurprisingly, they're top lane.
Dragon started up, but
MSF Rush too. They're trying to get up before Alex shows.
You have to watch out for the choke points. I don't think they're actually going to be able to contest this on the Misfit side. They might be able to pick up stragglers if they all don't exit the same way.
Well, right, it's the right time to spell shield here, but Ignite is on. It's a great point blank stun, but Q's gonna be back up in a second if he can get into range. There he is, catches up to Masker, but can't quite do enough, but Crumbzz can. Sojin goes down 2 for 0 on the chase down. They're gonna get more. Wolf is locked up. This fight is going all one way. Big Ol' Ron is Big Ol' Gnar, but still gonna get dropped for that one. Double kill for Maplestreet, 4-0.
And you can see the impact at the end of the fight that Big Ol' Ron was having in his Mega Gnar form. And that's exactly the fight that Misfits wants. They want to have those skirmishes. They want to have the 2-on-1, 2-on-2 fights because they have superior champions for that. And they're going to go straight for this Baron at 21 minutes.
Wow, they get a 4 for 0. They're half health on all of them. They're like, yeah, it's okay. We're going to try anyway. Indivisible is going to show up and look at Baron and then realize, yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, there's no TP. There's nothing they can really do about this. He might be able to pick up a cheeky kill here, but we'll see.
Hooked in by Remilia. He's actually in range to go for a steal, but Indivisible dies. There's the Ren. Maplestreet makes sure it does not get taken away, and they're all going to recall in time.
Yeah, last time I checked, Nautilus doesn't do 1,000 damage, so thankfully for Misfits, thankfully, he actually didn't have his smite up. It's still on
Gale has taken those things away.
That's true. They actually all turned off of it, though, and this is the skirmish they want. The exit route of the rest of the members of Magnetic, they went up and around. The TP came in on the northern side of this fight. That's going to be Alex Each and Crumbzz, the 2 synergistic members of this roster, just actually picking up. And we have to show wave clear, don't we? We always have to show wave clear. Welcome to Challenger. Enjoy your stay, but look at that. Oh, this is such a good Gnar from Ron, but it's not utilized because everybody's been picked off. Imagine if Wolf had been up at that point, if Sojin had been up, if all these damage dealers were able to follow that up. That would have been a 1-team fight for Misfits, or for Magnetic.
Yeah, but they didn't plan ahead for it.
Exactly.
They thought Misfits was giving it away, and yet by the fact that Maplestreet and Remilia were mid lane, Magnetic felt complacent. Like, okay, cool, they gave us Dragon, that's nice, and then the pick happened.
Yeah, and they didn't exit the Dragon
the same way.
The same way. They didn't all go south. They all went north.
They should have logged. Well, here's the difficult thing, right? If they go all west, they run into the dual lane, which is maybe fine for them, right? It's maybe okay, but it means you do run into the AD carrying support, and that team is all there. Yep. If you all run south, you give away pressure in the mid lane.
Exactly. Then they go towards that turret, but it's better than losing that fight.
I definitely agree. So, overall misplay, and Magnetic getting a bit behind. You said this is not the team they typically actually play with.
Yeah, they
normally have a couple of replacements in the roster, and you're kind of seeing the cracks now in the mid game, even though they won their lanes, even though they got the first 2 dragons pretty cleanly. It's the little things, these mid-fight choices that are falling apart.
Yep, and that's what they're preying on the Misfit side. So the fact that they picked the skirmish composition is working out for them because they're looking for those types of mistakes. They're looking for the group in the 2-3, the 1-2-2, and preying on that, and it's worked so far.
Beautifully, so Misfits looking pretty good here. They've got Baron buff. Alex Itch is the split pusher right now on Aurelia.
Oh, there's the maxed Q second.
Yep, 4.75 seconds on the cooldown of the Blade Surge right now. CDR he has. Crumbzz still limping around on the sides.
He gets to take every blue as the jungle Nidalee. It's basically the wet dream for jungle Nidalee. You keep throwing spears out over and over and over again. And with that Void Staff so early on and the NLR behind it,
yep,
you can just continue to siege and have this move push. It's a really good situation for Misfits.
I just want to point out that Misfits managed to successfully siege against Zig's Sivir. In what world does that actually happen successfully?
Without wave clear.
Well, I mean, you're the advantage team. You don't need the wave clear to make that happen.
Yeah, they have the Baron buff, so Ziggs is throwing out a little more bombs than normal. Ziggs isn't even on 2 items yet.
Yeah. Nidalee spam, and you just keep working it down, and eventually it works out for you. So 4 turrets to 3. Misfits have knocked down their first tier 2 turret of the game. Alex is controlling some jungle, because why not? And with Locket done on the support Thresh here, Misfits have just a ton of items in their inventory now.
And also some good level advantages too. Alex each 2 levels up over Wolf, and you can see Crumbzz 2 levels up over Sojin. The only real advantage is that Magnetic is Big Ol' Ron.
But hey, he did pretty nicely, but you're already seeing that RF just by being in team fights is probably eclipsed the guy in gold, I'm going to hazard the guess. And he is. He's up 60 gold. Got it right.
60 gold. Got it in there before he farmed away.
That's what 5 assists is going to do for you, and your team having an extra turret kill. So all is well in the Misfits camp, honestly. Baron has timed out, which means sieging up against Ziggs and Sivir got way harder.
It's only 24 minutes in the game, too. Misfits, they know with this composition that if they let up the pressure, they let up the tempo, then they're going to lose this game because of the Wombo combo. So the fact that they're keeping it up, they're keeping the pressure on, they're constantly having wards forward, is how they're keeping this game in their favor.
And that's the big thing. Speaking of forward wards, all of the magnetic wards right now have been sucked to the left-hand side of the map where Baron was. You can see literally like 7 wards on that jungle, which doesn't matter. They've got a few defensive wards on the way towards Dragon, but they don't have really the same kind of coverage here, whereas Misfits are already starting that themselves. The vision going to be really important with the mismatch in team comps here as look for the 3rd Dragon to spawn.
And those are really the windows of opportunity when these Dragon fights. You know that Misfits are going to be around it. You set up the vision control ahead of time, but that's what Indivisible's trying to do without getting picked off. Because the Misfits, it's not about the Dragon fight for them. It's about what happens before and after the Dragon. Does somebody not walk to the appropriate place? You pick them off. If they retreat the incorrect way, you pick them off. So it's not about the Dragon fights, it's about what's happening around them for Misfits. And you can see right now, Dragon 10 seconds, let's all go top.
Good rotation, very nice. Magnetic was not here in time. This will be a tier 2 turret kill. Ziggs far away, and the jungler nowhere to be seen. So turret number 5 to Misfits, and now they can rush down Dragon as the rest of the team forced to wave clear that wave. And they're gonna all meet right near the mid lane again.
You can see Alex is actually in the bottom lane dueling. Under a turret.
It's gonna be close. Minefield is there. The Q's gonna land. Alex got the reset and jumped right back out. Life is getting harder and harder, but he's gonna get surrounded. Sivir was popped. Both flashes used to get away. Big Ol' Ron lands the slow. Alex has nowhere to go.
They don't want to use Sojin's ulti, but they have to now because the lantern.
Oh no! That just happened.
He wanted to keep it for so long and it ended up costing him and saving Alex's life.
Oh, that has got to be one of the most heartbreaking possible situations, especially for Wolf, who died for nothing now. Dragon's under control. Easy pickup for Misfits.
That Q-Max second with CDR behind it on Alex each. It really throws you off guard. It even threw you off guard. It's like, how is that 4.5 seconds? 14 seconds down to 6, just base cooldown. So there's a constant Aurelia on your face. Even if she Qs to you, the fight will last long enough and her R will keep her alive long enough to get another one off.
She even went Alacrity boots here just for the extra movement speed. Alex is running around the map without Dragon 3 at 437 movement speed. And again, that aforementioned 4-second Q cooldown. So here's the jump on in.
Kills a full health caster minion. Doesn't even need the first Trinity Force.
That's how you do it.
To kill him, and then he Qs right out of that fight.
Just pop R for Triforce proc, you get plenty of damage out of that one, and life is good here for Misfits, sitting up at 6,000 gold here. They took the Dragon without contest. They've been getting solo kills in various lanes now. And now all you can really say is good luck to Magnetic. They've got a lot of work ahead of them if they want to hold on to this game. The team fights are not happening.
They do have a Ziggs though, so
holding on can always happen.
Ziggs is kind of the hold-on champion. It's what he does.
If this team is able to deal with Aurelia, and the problem is the champions here aren't really good single target killers, but they can try to knock down Alex Itch. The hook on in, the stuns are there. Hey, he's doing a lot of damage, but he's taken even more. And these guys, you can see they will be able to kill Alex, but it's right on top of Baron spawning. Magnetic on the wrong side of the map for this one.
Whoa,
wow, that landed on a big ol' Ron, but they're only going to get a 1-for-1 trade off this one. He will not be Mega Gnar in time. Rend was used. Baron's back at full health. Misfits can't keep going.
That hook from Vermelia, this is why Thresh has been banned against her a couple times.
Oh! Who would ever recall there when you know they boarded up the entrance? But here we go. Hard engage comes in. 2-man stun, but nothing for Sojin to do. A second kill picked up for Crumbzz. 5-1 and 6, the primary AP carry of the team. That's working quite nicely.
Oh man, these comfort champions that I was talking about, it's just really Misfits playing their own game. The Nidalee and the Thresh showing up really big there in those last 2 picks.
So here's the push on in. Ulti in from Zig's not nearly going to be in time, but they do a lot of help with that one. RF forced the tank, but Wolf is around. He smells blood. He's on the hunt here. RF going to go zone them out. Looks like he will do that successfully. Baron does get picked up with a 1,000 health Ren. RF just really does not care about damage.
Yeah, that ball went right over his head. Bounced a little too high. Alex, level 16 already, highest level on his team. Second, tied for, I guess, first. He's about to hit 17 right now. But you can see how much they're funneling into Alex. He's been the split push Aurelia. I mean, he did have a stint.
Without teleport.
He did have a stint where he was playing top lane in Europe.
That's true.
He's back to it now. He said he hated it. Alex, what are you doing? As a top lane champion, look what lane you're in.
It's okay. You know what? Fine. At least he had the time to learn the champion pool and then in position from there. He still played mid lane for most of it. I'll give him a pass this time around, but it is confusing. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, it gave him a really nice kind of explosion champion select of, wait, what's happening?
Yep.
Caught them off guard. That's an Aurelia mid. You can't always expect that. You can't prepare for that. The Gnar was picked into that. Just to try and tilt that matchup with jungle ganks and jungle pressure, but it didn't happen that way. It ended up going mid and threw him off.
Ron still had a decent time in the lane, but you're right, this mid lane, early lead for a Wolf, but mid lane, huge advantage for Alex and the rest of Misfits here. Crumbzz just doesn't really take damage anymore.
Yeah. Finishes
Seraph's Embrace. Looks like Luden's Echo is likely to be next for him as well, so just full power on this Nidalee right now. And there's so little that can be done here for Magnetic. The next Baron buff force still on, minute and a half left on that one. Turret number 6 in the eyes of Alex Ich, and no one here to stop him yet.
Yeah, the Baron buffed up minions. He has them multiple waves there. I think he might actually be close to having 2 cannon minions in that wave. Very, very close. I think the next one might be, but regardless, they have a lot of siege potential.
Yeah, we're not quite at the part where we get 1 cannon minion per wave here, so.
Yeah, it's still only 31 minutes in the game.
It's 2 Barons in. Most teams don't have 1 Baron by this point in the game. Misfits have done a great job of just rushing down the big neutral objectives and making sure that Magnetic was dead right before that so that it was easy to take.
And they also gave up 2 dragons, right? Misfits gave 2 dragons to Magnetic, but because they weren't fighting around their power spikes. They were just letting them have those objectives, and that's very smart. Oh, man. Yeah. We're back in the days where Nidalee Spears chunk people.
Did that ever really stop?
Every time. Well, there's a time when people were like, oh, she's bad and nobody's playing her.
And then people realize that ability power is still a stat in this game.
And then they realize they can jungle her, so. Okay, that one's not that bad. But when it hits Sivir...
He has like 212 magic resist, so I would hope not. Hit 172, close enough.
The siege situation. They aren't even looking to wave clear heavily on Misfits side. They're just looking to poke down champions. Alex
is probably going to die. There's a stun. Jumps into melee range. Ignite is on. Cannot do enough damage. Forced to flashback away. He'll survive the Ignite, but it buys a lot of time for his team to be in the mid lane here. This is going to lose a lot of health, this mid lane turret. Zigs around. Vigilron's here as well, who has quite a bit of armor. Flash ults Alex into the wall. Lands the W, but here comes Crumbzz to turn this fight back around. Heals Alex in, which means here comes all the burst. Kill picked up by Alex into the Q in the melee range. Nothing else doing for Magnetic now. Baron times out, but it's a 5v4.
Alex almost had Massacre, too. He threw one of his Transcendent Blades the opposite direction. He's like, I don't need this spell. Go! Speaking of needing spells, they need everything they need right now for Magnetic.
5v4 inside the inhibitor turret, and it's slowly but surely going well. Sojin goes down. The turret falls as well. Even with split Thogs, it works out here. Maplestreet, the bomb only blocks the Bloodthirster shield. Otherwise, life is good.
Step on everyone on your way out.
It's a bit of a slow, but they'll be safe.
Needed a lantern after that one. A little bit of assistance to get out. It is going to be the 2nd dragon for Misfits, or the 3rd dragon for Magnetic. There is TP up on Big Ol' Ron. Some of these members are low on mana and low on HP for Misfits.
Maplestreet missed the hop over the wall. It's okay, I missed that one too sometimes. I think it's to be farther left to get the easy Q over. Crumbzz will join the team. Easy dragon pickup there. Goes to Crumbzz, doesn't have to smite it. gigantic lead now for Misfits.
Wolf was out of mana and he really just had to set up ward control. They, instead of taking the contest on the Dragon, they take this time to set up objectives, set up the wards on the opposite side of the map. They know where Misfits are going to be sieging next. It's not going to be down in that inhibitor. It's going to be up in this top side of the map. So they're setting up for that. So good call by Magnetic there.
Absolutely. And you can see just a cluster of wards split all across this western jungle here. It's definitely something that Magnetic can try to play around. It's pretty much their last chance of doing so. Taking a fight without Baron buff, without bot lane dying on its own. Maybe Magnetic gets that one team fight they need. But so far, Misfits have done a pretty darn good job of splitting them up until at least someone's missing before the fight starts.
There's so many power items on the Misfits side right now. You can see Crumbzz just needs one more item in the slot with the Rabadon's Death Cap completed. RF, 2 items away. Alex Siege, 2 items away. He got himself the Blade of the Rune King, so he can pretty much duel anybody on the map. Speaking of Blade of the Rune Kings, Maplestreet got his own, and then Vermelia pretty much went for
Blade of the Rune King?
defensive duty with the Aegis of Legion into the locket.
Yeah, and the Mikhail's going to be up next too with the Chalice now picked up. So Alex sees Sojin, decides, you know what, my team's nowhere near. Maybe I shouldn't fight this one. So for the first time ever, Alex didn't dive someone on his screen. See hero, kill hero has apparently dropped away from this man's vocabulary.
Apparently, Vermelia has the same gold as Sojin at this point in the game. You can see their items as well. Very close, about 100, 200 gold difference between the support and
the jungler of the other side.
On the opposite team. That is how this game has been going for Misfits.
Yeah. Very well for one, not great for the other. Magnetic gonna look for the jump. They slowed down Crumbzz, but Lantern keeps him totally safe. No pickup at all, and Alex is still bot lane, just pushing the wave in. Baron's a minute away, and we'll see what kind of attention he can pull to this side of the map.
And I love watching Vermelia's Thresh. Vermelia is a very good Thresh player, and the mark of a good Thresh player is not just landing hooks, but also being in position with Lantern and when to be on the front line. You can see it right here. I cursed her.
Yeah, who's gonna, well, I was about to ask who's gonna Lantern at Vermelia, and then I realized Maplestreet's there, so he did.
You got your answer.
That's just gotta be so frustrating. How many times has happened now where just they can't quite kill the person they were going for and they get Lanterned or Fate's called out?
The bottom lane that's there to support the duos of the solo laners, and Crumbzz, he's just got such great synergy with his team. It's really good to see after
dual lane is definitely
what happened on TikTok. Let's see.
Absolutely, you're right. The whole team looking pretty sharp. The calls have been good. Alex Edge finds the stun and a big ol' Ron, and even though he's built full tank, Alex getting a lot of damage on that matchup.
And we talked about how Aurelia and Dinar is Aurelia favored. They're finally having it now.
Yeah, that's true.
You thought it was going to be a top lane, but nope. Comes down to the 36-minute mark. They finally clash.
It also helps being up 4,000 gold.
No.
Really? You're like, no, it doesn't help at all. Who needs gold leads to win fights? And maybe you don't, Zirene, being a jungler and being poor and forcing the ward in the lanes that matter.
I'm pretty much a secondary support.
Yeah.
Glorified support. But Crumbzz is not this game.
No.
He is the main
He's the most
AP,
kills in the team and the most assists in the team.
Main AP magic threat. Highest kill participation on the team. He's just been making moves, and you can see, like I said, 3 out of the 5 games they've played, Nidalee's been banned against Misfits for this exact reason. He uses the traps in a very good way to set up choke points, to set up. He doesn't even always have to land his spear. He lands it for the poke, but he can always see when people are coming in, even if they don't have the vision control early on, and it helps these poke compositions.
And this is going to be a good all-in. Who cares about poke? We'll just take down Baron really, really fast. 4 of them used there. RF is there in case he needs to teleport, in case he wants to flank, because there's already a bunch of deep wards down to flank and get that free team fight. It's not going to happen.
I think they want to do it anyway. He's TPing in. He has Righteous Glory and Home Guard. Ooh, he stopped it.
Yep, nothing to find there. It's a nice attempt, but here we are on Baron number 3 this game. Misfits, we were so many fantasy points.
They're not there yet. Oh, he missed it!
Crumbzz misses the jump, gets dogpiled on. In this case, cat-piled, I suppose. Big ol' Ron flashes in. Oh, man, you got to stop all in the support. Come on, it already happened to you twice this game.
Yeah, I think Lantern was also down, so if you had gone for Maplestreet head on there,
yeah, no, you
would have been able to catch him. But it does buy time. Push these sideways with the Baron buff. There is a naked inhibitor down bottom.
But this team can't really like sieging 4v5. Crumbzz cannot join this team in a while. Bot lane inhibitor respawns, though an RF with Baron buff is going to try to knock this one down. Big ol' Ron is sent to defend, but there's too many minions, maybe, to make this really stop. Big ol' Ron going to be Mega Gnar soon, but RF just refusing to be stopped. Ooh, good flash to get away from the Mega Gnar ulti. Inhib will survive.
was going to say, but for how long? But he's walking away, so a little bit longer than this.
I'm going to say at least 30 seconds.
Crumbzz back up, rotating back to middle as RF clears that bottom wave. Big old run once again, pushing it out. All these turrets, all these outer turrets, taken very low, or taken, or I guess the inhibitor turrets, taken very low. So Misfits pretty much have the pick of the litter where they want to group up next.
Now, keep in mind, over the course of 3 Baron buffs, I think literally like 2 turrets have been killed by Misfits. The siege defense is going quite well for Magnetic, and again, 5v5 team fights, really hard to make happen, so Misfits have been kind of relegated to playing a slow, methodical objective control game where they're running out of things to buy, so gold leads start to not matter anymore. There's still room to grow, it's not yet. I'm just saying there's only 1 item left for like half the champions on this team. At that point, you just stop growing.
How many dragons can you get in that time? It's going to be the movement dragon for them. Dragon 3 for the Misfits.
Yep. Which means 52 minutes into the game is Dragon 5, very far away. By that point,
yeah,
Magnetic would be full power on most of the major carries. So if we really go this long up against Civ or Ziggs, that's the reality we're going to face, where the gold is basically the same. Right now, the Misfits still pressing very hard on the bot lane, and the entire team is here to use the Baron buff to siege this one up. They're up there, they're up 15k gold. This could work.
Spears being thrown by Crumbzz. He has that blue buff ready to soften them up before the fight starts. If he can land one onto Massacre or Wolf, it really opens up the landscape of the team fight for the Misfits. They're looking for those picks. And you can see right now with this huge gold lead that Magnetic is a little afraid to actually full-on engage onto the Misfits just yet. Oh, the hook.
And you can see, yeah, even though the hook lands, they're unwilling to start these fights. They know how scary the 5-on-5 can be. Wolf's ulti just comes back from cooldown now. Another hook comes out. They will catch an invisible.
That's the target they
want.
want.
A lot of damage, and down goes Nautilus without getting to ult. Maybe now they engage. They will drop the inhibitor here with Baron timing out. 5v4, what else can they get?
There's a low turret in mid lane. They could just muscle this down if they all show up and just pelt it a little bit, but it's right in front of Magnetic and they're all still alive. You have to walk around.
Yeah, too big of a risk for Misfits to want to take. And so nothing else picked up, but that's the 3rd time I believe the bot lane inhibitor has been taken down. It's like the 3rd time they've gotten Baron buff here. Misfits still playing very slow and steady. These guys were up 12k at like 28 minutes.
Yeah, 12k, it's 4v5 right now. Alex each has a Guardian Angel, they have a QSS, they have a lot of room for error, and instead they decide to not make any, or not even go for any decisions.
That's the thing is this game is very far out of hand. It's going to take, again, a long time for Magnetic to scale back into this one, but lack of action can be very, very bad decisions. Sometimes you've got to push for the actual game win before your opponents find somewhere to get back into it. You just give room for mistakes to happen. It's just always a little bit nerve-wracking when you just can't close games out. I've been in comebacks bigger than this one.
Yeah. Especially with the lack of wave clear, it's always a little difficult to get into the base and get those objectives. They're going to have to try split pushing again. Alex to the bottom lane. Crumbzz near the mid, he can rotate between them, he'll shove it out, shove out mid, make sure they pay attention to it and clear that wave, and that might be how they get top, or how they get that middle. But Alex is just once again pushing super minions, assisting them towards that bottom lane.
Real talk, I think these guys need Omewrecker. Because...
Real talk with Phreak, Omewrecker's good.
I think in this game, so obviously Omewrecker costs you a lot of money, and it's not stat efficient, but when you have a 15,000, 16,000 gold lead, stat efficiency is not exactly an important metric anymore. But the fact is, they are unable to just say, hey, Maokai, go dive straight onto Sivir, or go dive straight onto Ziggs. We'll turn off the turret while it happens. That would actually allow them to close this game out in one of those convincing fashions much sooner on, and so far it just...
I don't know how much they actually want to dive the turrets with a Nidalee. They really just
But the fact is it's not making progress.
But they want to poke people off. It's really on Crumbzz and who he lands the spears on, because if he can get people off of the turrets and the objectives, he doesn't even have to kill them. But then it rewards them with the turret afterwards. So it's one of those things where, like, this isn't a team that wants to pop Righteous Glory and run at you.
Oh, hook lands in Massacre, but they will not follow in. The inhib turrets do heal very slowly. I believe it's 2 health per second. So it's a very slow process, but these inhib turrets have still stayed alive through 3 Baron buffs of Misfits. The bot lane has been taken down, but it keeps getting wave cleared back by Ziggs and Sivir. Alex is sent mid to try to knock that turret down. The rest of the team is top lane. Baron up in 45 seconds now. Ziggs once again wave clears it out.
Mid lane turret though.
Is taking damage. You're right, Alex getting slowly but surely more damage dealt, but he's going to have to heal soon before Baron respawns in 30 seconds. Here's several things they want to go while Alex is low. Flash away keeps Crumbzz safe. Half health from the Ziggs ulti, but mid lane inhib turret goes down to Alex Ich. The dive does not work. He gets free time inside the base. Now he has to run.
Gives him the runaround, gets that inhibitor turret for himself. Gyrates a little bit. He's happy about that when he couldn't contain it. Finally killed it.
Yeah?
I've been teasing him for so long. Baron up in 5 seconds, and that's where Misfits have their eyes. A lot of the ultimates from Magnetic down once again, so they can't really stress this. Is it third Baron? Fourth Baron for Misfits.
They had a fantasy gold mine, Misfits here.
They had a grasp on this game very early on. They didn't let up the tempo, but eventually you cap out. Like you said.
And this is going to be probably the last. Yep, there it is. Mercurial Scimitar, now done on Maplestreet. Riley's, oh no, sorry, just Giant Spell picked up for now for Alex Ich. It's going to be Randuin's. Zhonya's is picked up now for Crumbzz. I actually want to see him go Luden's. You're talking about how much he's trying to poke to win this game. Luden's would actually help him do enough damage to chunk people out. I'm surprised to see him not go for that. Zhonya's is more of the team fight item, but they're not going to win team fights anyway.
Yeah, he might just jump in on the next spear that he lands.
And just hope to buy the time for the dive.
They're going to get this middle inhibitor off their push, so he's kind of prepping for that.
Okay.
If you get these two inhibs down, you don't really need the third to end the game once you get in that seed position between middle and bot. You can get it, but with this team composition, they'll be able to pull it off. You know what, I take that back. They'll be able to just rotate top with the two inhibitors down. Dragon up in 10 seconds, Alex Ich top.
Alright, they're going to go for the attempted win. First, though, they take all the objectives off the map. They've realized how slow and ponderous the sieges are, so before they go for the possible death knell, they're going to look now for Dragon number 4, just in case. In 6 minutes, they can get Dragon number 5 if they needed it, but right now, as you said, they might be able to knock down everything they need to.
Yeah, this Dragon's going to help them kill their 5th Baron faster. So.
Yeah. They've got as many Barons as Dragons this game.
Is that really their 4th? They
yes.
got one at 20. Yeah.
I am certain.
Yeah, they did.
This is Baron number 4 before Dragon number 4. Alex Ich top lane. The rest of Misfits near the mid side. Both mid and bot have no more inhib turrets, so the inhibitors are likely to drop rather fast. Crumbzz is in. Cannot land the skill shots just yet. Individual buying time. Massacre and Wolf keep wave clearing, and they've sent Gnar to go deal with Aurelia in the top side. Mid lane taking a little bit of damage from these minions. No banner of command just yet, but as soon as a Baron up cannon is enough for these guys. As usual, a critless build for Maplestreet means in team fight, just auto attack DPS, Sivir is actually going to be quite good.
He's got one crit item.
Oh yeah, Infinity Edge was picked up. I take that back. I didn't see where it came from. Oh, he sold Last Whisper for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Or just never bought it in the first place. Either way, mid lane inhib has gone down. Bot lane inhib is open, but these guys have to be careful for the engages. And they've sent now all 5 down to the bot lane. Baron buff only has about a minute to a minute and a half left.
It's back and forth, back and forth. 27 minutes in the game, 21 minutes in the game. It looked like Magnetic's composition was just going to fall over, but Misfits frustrated to make progress. Here they go!
Engage, catches Wolf. There's the big wave clear mid. Alex has Guardian Angel. He can take anything he wants. And Maple getting just free time to hit everybody. Gigantic Ren stacks, picks up one. Alex practically on the fountain is going to get the GA pop, but who even cares? A double kill for Maplestreet. The team is alive. There's nothing else that Magnetic can do. With 3 of them dead, the wave comes in. This will be the game. It took a lot of time and a lot of effort, but in 48 minutes, Game 1 goes to Misfits, and they are 1 Nexus away from joining the North American Challenger Series for the summer split.
It took them 20+ minutes to find the fight that worked for them. One little misplacement there. Alex had the GA, jumped right in. I think he could have executed it on a play like that maybe 5, 6, 7, 12 minutes earlier.
5, 6, 7, 12 Barons earlier?
5, 6. One of those, yeah. But overall, it's very reserved play. They only gave up 5 kills that game, and a lot of that was early on in some fumblerooskies there, as Riv would say, with the Nidalee over the wall, getting picked off, and then from there, they didn't lose anything else. Like, that's a big thing. When you lose one person, having the control to be like, all right, we all need to get out before any more casualties fall. And even then, when Magnetic picked up kills, they weren't able to get objectives off of it, and then they just get, like, some vision control.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, as you're talking about sort of post-team fight situations, Misfits played with, generally speaking, very healthy respect for the hard engage, right? The 5v5s just never happened on Magnetic's terms. That's just straight up impressive by Misfits to do that. It still took them 12 minutes of Baron buff to win the game.
I'm trying to think that first lock-in Sejuani for Sojin.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever got more than one person in his ultimate.
He's got a couple of 2-mans. But I don't think he had any more than 2-mans this game.
Two-man lockups. Okay.
I know he got a couple of 2-mans.
Because when it came to that mid-late game, they were all just being, not whiffed, but dodged out by lanterns, fates calls, people flashing them right at the last second. So that looked like a very frustrating game for Magnetic, especially since this is a squad that drafted a team fight composition. Things got out of control when Crumbzz started snowballing.
And that's all it really took, right? Is like Misfits had a good game. They snowballed. They kept the game under control. They never made any mistakes. Magnetic won the lanes. They had the early turret lead, and they had pretty much a dream comp. You have everything you need. You have a front line. You have stuns. You have movement speed. You have so much wave through you couldn't possibly lose the game until the opponents get 4 Barons. Like, you saw like the strengths of this composition and how easy this game would have been if it weren't for a 15,000 gold lead. But man, was the mid game so good. That second dragon was the big turning point. It was 18-ish minutes into the game, roughly, and it looked like Misfits gave away a dragon. Magnetic said, cool, we got dragged, we rushed it while Alex was dead or was forced to recall, one of the two. Cool, and then, oh no, actually, it's Triforce boots to Aurelia, and she's going to kill your AD carry.
Yep, the Crumbzz Alex Siege synergy, you have to watch out for it, killing Wolf over a wall from the Raptor pit, and then also part you're talking about where they just ran them down. If you go down bottom, you're going to get picked off by this composition, and that's what they needed because Misfits are good enough to actually snowball a lead to basically capitalize on the advantages they got. Split push with the advantage that Alex was given throughout the lane phase. You saw him being level 17 before anybody else in the game, and then leveraging that, and that's a good mark. And
that is actually really big. There's two things about that that are really hard. So one of them is that they split pushed without teleport. Like, eventually they did use Maokai as a split pusher. He had teleport. He had some good TPs. That's all fine. But their dedicated split pusher for most of this game, the guy with a ton of the farm, 418 minions because he was on his own so much of this game, was a TP-less Aurelia. And that can be very difficult to play around when you realize you can get outplayed by enemy teleports. Absolutely you can. But the other micro thing I really liked was the fact that they had an AP matchup for the Gnar. And Gnar built a Hex Drinker. He built, I think he went Mercury Treads. I'm looking for it. He did go Mercury Treads. And he went for a Spectre's Cowl second item. And then as soon as that's done, surprise, you're facing Aurelia! Enjoy! And it was horrible for him. And that's, you see it, I would say, fairly occasions where it's not a rare occurrence, but when you see it executed this well, where it's like, not only is it a bad matchup, but you didn't even build for it. That's when it's rough, and it's an Ignite, and good luck holding up to that matchup. Yeah, and also, if you are on your own island, they have 3 people down here who are very easy to get away. You have the Callista, who's bound with the Thresh, Lanterns, Fates, Calls. Nidalee's going to get over walls. So you're basically always in a situation where you could get TP'd on by a Maokai. And even if the Sivir wants to try and engage, on the 3, so it's like basically 4 people here, 3 here, 1 in the base with RF, and then Alex Siege versus Big Ol' Ron. Big Ol' Ron always has to worry about RF being there. So when your TP is actually in a different place than you're not matching up with it, you always have to think about it. It's really a rough situation to be in. Yeah, but I mean, ultimately this game came down to the fact that we can keep singing the Misfits comp's praises. I wouldn't come into a game and hope my team had the Misfits comp in this one. I would generally... Don't try this at home. I would generally prefer the Magnetic comp, for what it's worth, for not only just solo queue, but probably most competitive teams. Even no matter how good you are, the difficulty of executing the Misfits comp is probably too high for me to want to recommend it. They had some... It's 19-5, and it still took them 47 minutes and 50 seconds. It took them 12 minutes of Baron to win the game. So some difficulties there. We'll see how well we can go for in game 2. A great mid game, all deserved by Misfits, obviously. For now, they're going to take a quick break, but when you return, the Misfits will look to join the Summer Challenger Series with one more win against Magnetic. Game 2 is right after this. catch Sojin by knowing the timer of where he's going to come back into his jungle. Really nicely done. First blood comes in, but Wolf gets Crumbzz back. There he is, catches up to Masker, but can't quite do enough, but Crumbzz can. Sojin goes down, and Maple getting just free time to hit everybody. Gigantic Ren stacks, picks up one. Alex practically on the fountain is going to get the GA pop, but who even cares? A double kill for Maplestreet.